so far we have seen the reflection attack. There are other attacks, such as replay attacks and man-in-the-middle attacks that we have discussed. Do you think that man-in-the-middle attack can break into this type of algorithm? Did we in any way verify the identity of Alice and Bob here?
No.
No, they were total strangers and they just picked some random numbers. And these random numbers allow them to establish a shared key and use that as session key to encrypt connection with symmetric key. But the identities of Alice and Bob were not confirmed. So Trudy can come up here and pretend that she's Bob. She can pick her random number and Alice will establish a secure connection with her. She can do the same thing with Bob and establish secure connection with him and pass the messages between the two. She can change the messages, she can skip some of the messages if she wants to. So this is called a man-in-the-middle attack, and the reason this attack is possible is because their identities were not verified. So the way we have seen this algorithm is vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attack. Now, in order to protect ourselves from this type of attack, what we can do is, instead of having Trudy here in the middle, we can have a trusted authority that verifies the identities of Alice and Bob before any information is transferred between the two. So we can have a trusted authority that would provide keys, and Alice and Bob can share their keys with that authority. And we call that a key distribution center. This is a method that is used for authentication. I believe that even here on the campus we use this for our passwords when we log into the system. So for Windows. So this is a key distribution center. Also called KDC. So this is a trusted authority. This is similar to this certification authority that we talked about last time. So the certification authority is a third-party agency that can verify that we are who we say we are. And that's all they do. We go to them, we show our ID, passports, whatever identification documents they need, and they issue us a certificate. And because they're trusted, that certificate is sufficient to prove that we are who we say we are. Same situation here. This key distribution center is because it's trusted. We allow it to verify the identities of the communication parties. So each user has a single key shared only with the key distribution center. session key management goes through that key distribution center. So the shared key that we've been talking about, also called here session key, goes through the key distribution center as managed by it. So the way this works, Alice wants to talk to Bob. So what she does is she sends her identity to the key distribution center, and she sends her key to the key distribution center. The key is only shared between Alice and the key distribution center. So she sends it, and she says, I want to talk to Bob, and this is the shared secret key, session key, that I want to use for this symmetric key communication. So this authority verifies that this is Alice because it has her key, and nobody else has it. Only Alice and KDC have it. And so verifies that she really is Alice before anything is sent to Bob. When it verifies that this really is Alice, then it sends a message to Bob, encrypted with his key. This way Bob knows that the message is coming from the authority and not from anybody else, because the authority is the only thing that has his key. So when Bob gets something encrypted with his key, he knows it must be coming from him. And then so the message is saying Alice wants to talk to you. That's her identity. And this is the shared key that you're going to be using to talk to each other. Now, this, as all our algorithms that we have seen, is vulnerable to another attack called, what do you think it's called?
Denial of service.
What service?
Denial of service.
Denial of service. Well, it could be somebody killed the key distribution center and the server's dead. Denial of service. Yeah, sure, why not? But that's not. But there's one more. See, look at your attacks that we talked about. What kind of attacks you do? Reflection attack, many individual attack, denial of service attack. Any other attacks that you remember? We have replay attack.
Oh yeah.
Remember when I said, I have a perfectly valid message to withdraw $1,000 from my bank account and send it to Trudy's account because she did some work for me. So I want to pay her. Okay, but she's sitting on the network, copied the message. The message is encrypted, she can't read it. She can't change it. But she can resend it later and then withdraw $1,000 one more time to go into her bank account. So this is called a replay attack, and this method is vulnerable to that. In order to avoid this kind of attacks, what we can do is introduce a timestamp. So anyway, there's a lot of these security methods have been cracked before through various YouTube ways. One more method I'd like to discuss is called Kerberos.
Oh yeah. You think it's not.
So you guys know about it. So we
How
have,
do you think that God's the other thing?
yeah, so we have you heard of Kerberos?
Yes.
Anyone?
I have.
technology that used to guard the entrance to Hades. Guard the entrance means it does not allow unauthorized parties to enter the entrance. And so at MIT, some scientists in MIT liked this idea, and they developed a security algorithm called Kerberos, which was supposed to prevent unauthorized login to the network in MIT. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So the Kerberos three-headed dog from Greek mythology which used to guard entrance to Hades. This algorithm was designed in MIT to allow workstation users to access network resources securely. So the Kerberos has three heads. Well, three parts. The first part is called an authentication server. The authentication server, what it does is it verifies users during login. The second head of this dog is called ticket granting server. So this ticket granting server is very similar to the key distribution center. It distributes tickets which are proof of identity. So it issues proof of identity tickets. And the third head is Bob. Because in this case, Bob is a server. Bob is a server that provides some service or does some work that Alice wants to have done. So in order for Alice to get her work done by this server, I imagine this could be an FTP server or a web server or some other kind of server that she needs to connect to security. In order for her to get this service done and authenticate to that server through this Kerberos algorithm, there are 6 steps that need to be performed. The first step is the authentication. First 2 steps involve the authentication server, so it just authenticates. Ticket granting server would issue tickets that Alice needs to use that proves her identity in order to connect to Bob. We have video on this, which is kind of long, but we'll go through it